Have you ever watched someone look you directly in the eyes, speak with complete confidence, and still be lying to your face? Most people believe lies are exposed by obvious signs. They imagine nervous fidgeting, darting eyes, trembling voices, sweaty palms. They think deception announces itself like a warning siren. It doesn't. The most dangerous liars rarely look nervous. The most dangerous liars often look calm, and that is exactly why they succeed. The average person enters every conversation with a hidden assumption. They assume honesty until dishonesty becomes obvious. They assume words are evidence. They assume confidence equals truth. Professional interrogators learned long ago that these assumptions are fatal. The first lesson hidden inside FBI deception analysis is brutally simple. Liars don't reveal themselves through a single behavior. They reveal themselves through contradictions. A truthful person remembers reality, a liar remembers a story, and reality behaves very differently from stories. Reality is messy. Reality contains uncertainty. Reality contains forgotten details. Reality contains imperfections. Stories seek consistency. Stories seek control. Stories seek persuasion. That difference creates tiny fractures. Those fractures are where deception lives. Imagine a man explaining where he was last night. A truthful person often speaks naturally. His memory moves through events as they occurred. He remembers some details vividly, others remain blurry. Sometimes he pauses because genuine memory retrieval requires effort. A liar behaves differently. He is not retrieving memory. He is manufacturing narrative. His brain is simultaneously managing multiple tasks, maintaining the lie. Monitoring your reaction, protecting weak points, avoiding contradictions, projecting confidence. Each mental task increases cognitive load. And under pressure, cognitive load leaves fingerprints. This is why elite deception analysts don't hunt for a single signal. They hunt for clusters. One behavior means almost nothing. 5 behaviors occurring together become meaningful. Because deception is rarely exposed by one mistake, it is exposed by patterns. One of the most revealing patterns appears when people become excessively detailed in areas that don't matter. Most people assume liars avoid details. Often the opposite is true. A skilled liar understands that details create credibility. So they begin decorating their story. They tell you exactly what they ate, exactly which street they walked down, exactly what song was playing, exactly what color the cashier's shirt was. The story becomes overloaded with unnecessary information. Why? Because fabricated certainty feels persuasive. The liar believes more details equal more believability. But there is a hidden problem. Real memory does not work this way. Human memory naturally prioritizes emotionally relevant information. Meaningless details are often forgotten. When a story sounds strangely engineered for credibility, experienced investigators become interested. Not because details prove deception, but because the motivation behind those details often does. Another powerful indicator appears when someone answers a question you didn't ask. This happens constantly. You ask a simple question, they provide a speech. You ask where they were. They explain why they're trustworthy. You ask what happened. They explain why they'd never do such a thing. Notice the shift. The question remains unanswered. The focus moves toward character defense. This is one of the oldest deception tactics in existence. Because defending identity is easier than defending facts. Facts can be checked. Character claims cannot. A liar wants the conversation to become emotional. A truth seeker wants the conversation to remain factual. That distinction changes everything. The next signal is even more fascinating. Many people believe liars avoid eye contact. Research and interrogation experience show reality is far more complicated. Some liars avoid eye contact. Others dramatically increase it. Why? Because they know the stereotype. They know society believes liars look away. So, they overcompensate, they stare intensely, they maintain eye contact longer than normal, they almost seem to be performing honesty. This creates an important principle. Behavior that appears honest can sometimes be strategic, and behavior that appears suspicious can sometimes be innocent. That is why professionals never rely on body language alone. Body language without context is a dangerous illusion. The real game lies in behavioral change, not behavior itself. Everyone has a baseline, everyone speaks differently. Everyone moves differently, everyone processes stress differently. The question is never, is this behavior suspicious? The question is this behavior different from normal? A sudden deviation from baseline is infinitely more valuable than any universal lie detector myth. A naturally expressive person who suddenly becomes rigid deserves attention. A relaxed person who suddenly becomes defensive deserves attention. A confident person who suddenly becomes cautious deserves attention. Change matters, context matters, patterns matter, individual gestures rarely do. This brings us to one of the darkest truths about deception. Liars often reveal themselves through language. Words expose hidden psychology, not immediately, not obviously, but consistently. Listen carefully when someone is distancing themselves from their story. A truthful person usually speaks from ownership. A deceptive person often creates distance from actions, distance from responsibility, distance from emotion, distance from facts. Instead of saying I broke the vase, they may say the vase got broken. Instead of saying I lied, they may say there was a misunderstanding. Instead of describing actions directly, they describe circumstances. Agency disappears, responsibility dissolves. The language becomes passive, subtle, almost invisible, yet extraordinarily revealing, because human beings naturally protect themselves from psychological discomfort. And language often becomes the shield. Then comes one of the most powerful techniques used in advanced interviews. Strategic silence. Most people are terrified of silence, liars especially. When a conversation becomes quiet, something fascinating happens. The truthful person usually waits. The liar often continues talking. He keeps explaining, keeps justifying, keeps expanding, keeps filling empty space. Why? Because silence creates pressure. Pressure creates anxiety. Anxiety creates leakage. The liar fears what silence might imply, so he rushes to control the narrative again. The result is often more information than he intended to reveal. Sometimes contradictions emerge, sometimes inconsistencies appear. Sometimes entirely new stories surface, all because someone remained quiet. Silence is not passive. Silence is psychological leverage, and few people understand its power. The deeper you study deception, the more you realize lying is not merely about false statements. Lying is about managing perception. Managing perception requires energy. Energy leaves traces. The human brain was designed for reality. Reality requires memory. Deception requires construction. Construction is expensive. The more elaborate the lie becomes, the greater the psychological burden. And eventually, almost everyone slips, not because they are foolish, but because cognitive resources are finite. This is why investigators frequently revisit the same topic from different angles, not to intimidate. To compare. Truth remains relatively stable. Fabrication evolves. Ask for a story once, ask again later. Then ask from a different direction. A genuine memory usually retains its core structure. A fabricated story often shifts. Tiny details change, sequences move, explanations mutate, the liar adapts, and adaptation creates inconsistency. That inconsistency becomes evidence. The public often imagines lie detection as dramatic confrontation. The reality is far more subtle. The best deception analysts rarely accuse, rarely attack, rarely pressure aggressively. Instead, they observe patiently, relentlessly, like hunters studying tracks in snow, because lies are rarely destroyed through force. They are destroyed through observation. Every interaction reveals something. Every response reveals something. Every hesitation reveals something. Every contradiction reveals something. The question is whether you notice. Most people don't, because
अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं। गए जो दिन सहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं। तुम्हारे बिन मौसम भी बड़ा बेसर्द लगता है। दिल का हर एक कोना अब बहुत ही दूर बढ़ता है। अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं, ये जो दिन सुहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं। तुम्हारे बिन ये मौसम भी बड़ा सर्द लगता है। दिल का हर एक कोना बहुत ही दर्द भरता है। मेरे साए भी मुझसे अब जुदा होने को कहते हैं। तुझे खोने की राहों में ये आंसू बहने लगते हैं। कहाँ जाऊं कहाँ ढूंढूं मेरा वो साजो सामा, तो मेरी हर एक तमन्ना तू, मेरी रूह का मका तू। लकीरों में नहीं लिखा जो तुमने ख्वाब देखा था। वफा की इस कहानी में फकत एक गम ही लिखा था। सितारों से भी पूछता है पता तेरा कहाँ होगा, मगर खामोश है दुनिया कहाँ मेरा जहाँ होगा। बस एक बार मुड़ के देख ले मेरी बेबसी की सूरत। मुझे है आज भी तेरी वफा की सख्त जरूरत। साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर। साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर, दर्द का असर।